In this tutorial, we're going to look at converting tag data from virtually any source into VTScada. Now, typically bringing it in, what we'll see is tag data that may be in some sort of format. In this example, we've got approximately 10,000 data points, and we've got a format here that you can see we're not necessarily seeing the data in the format we want. Now, for VTScada, we're going to need that data into UTC timestamp format. So the easy way to do that in Excel is if you have your data in whatever format it may be in, you can just go Format Cells and go down to Custom, and we'll come up with a string here to put this into the format we need. So that's going to be year, month, day, space, hour, minute, second, and at the end of that second we're going to force that to have 3 decimal places. We can say OK, and then there's all our data in the format that we need. So we can simply go File, Export, and change that down to a CSV, and click Save As, and that would work. Now I already have the data into this format, and what I want to show you is that data with some known common errors that you'll get when you're bringing data across. So what we're looking for is data in precisely this format here, with the year, month, day, hours, minutes, seconds, and the seconds having the 3 decimal places on it, and then a value separated by a comma. So if we look at the data that we have, you see most of it here is formatted nicely in what I've got, but I did want to show some common errors. This one is an Excel error where you may not actually have value in cells, but if you had Excel running, you hit save after having anything in any of the adjacent columns, it's going to start tagging on this into your CSV and just putting these empty cells in here. It's a simple thing to remove. You can, typically would use something probably more like Visual Studio Code for this, but in this case we're just going to use simple tools. So we'll go to replace, and we'll just replace this case, these 3 commas with nothing, and go find and replace. Now if we had a bunch of these, we'd say replace all. In this case I've only got one, so I'm just going to replace it, and then that's gone. The next thing that we have is, depending on how we formatted the data, we may find that the date has something like quotes around it, and again it's the exact same thing. I'm just gonna go in here and say replace, and we're gonna look for quotes, and anywhere that we see them we're gonna replace them with just blank. So that's fixed. The next one is, you may have this whole thing working but you don't have these 3 decimals on your timestamp. If that's the case, again, it can be pretty simple to fix this issue. You can go in here, replace. This time, because the decimal places are on the end, and if we never had them to begin with, we can just make those all the seconds with decimal zeros. So we'll look for the comma, and then we'll replace that with .000, comma. And if we replace that here, so and again, most of this has it all, so we're not going to replace that everywhere, otherwise we'd add the .0 to everything, but you can see where it was missing there. We've put that in, so that's perfect. I'm just going to bring this guy into the right format, and so that sample data is now ready to go, ready to be imported into VTScada. So now let's take a look at a small application that I've got. So you may be wondering when you're going to import bulk groups of tag data into VTScada, and it's something that would be really common if we were, say, converting from another application into VTScada. So we've got a bunch of tags from some other source, and we're going to bring those over to VTScada. So in this case, if I look at my tag browser, you'll see that I've got these stations here, and each of the stations has in it a couple IO tags that I want to bring over. So typically there'd be a bunch of these, but in this case we're just going to use it with a fairly small number. You can see here we've got 3 stations. Each of the stations has the same 2 tags here. So to start the process of bringing the data over, we're going to bring up the Explorer here, and go into the data folder, and in the data folder we're going to create a folder, and that folder is going to be called CSV History. We'll go new folder, and it's CSV History. And inside this folder, we're going to do two things. One is going to be to bring in our sample data. So, and it's extremely important that you copy the data in here, don't move it in. If you move the data in, then once you do your tag import, the folder will be cleared out and you'd lose the data. So say, copy it in here. And next we're going to make another CSV file. This file is going to be our mapping file. So this is where we're going to map each of these data sets to the tag that it's associated with. So I'm just going to go new, and I'm just going to say to make a new text document, and I'm going to call that tag mapping.csv, and that needs to have a capital T, tag mapping.csv, and say yes. Okay, now we're going to just open that with, I'm just going to edit this again with Notepad, just because I don't trust Excel. And now we're going to put in the information on how our tags are going to associate here. So I'm going to take the station 1 dash pump running CSV, and we're going to map that out to the full tag tree that we see here for that. So it's going to be station 1 so this is our first tag, and we can take that and we'll bring that down, and this time we're going to change the pump running to water level, and so this is everything for station 1, and we'll copy that for stations 2 and 3, and here we're gonna go 2, 2, okay, so we'll save that. And just in case we've made a mistake, I'm just going to back that up right here. Okay, so our data folder now is filled in. We've got the historic data here we've got all of our different tags, and each of these I can show you. If I open that in Notepad, you'll see that these are in the format that we would have expected here. And each of these has approximately 10,000 records in it. So we've got all of our values stored here in our CSV history folder. Now what we're going to do is just go and restart our application. And then it should check to see if this history folder exists. If it does, it will bring the data in, assuming that it's all correctly formatted, and we'll blow the data out of here so that it doesn't stay and keep trying to copy it every time that we start our application. Bring this up, run up my application. All right, so now you see that the tags are being imported. Everything worked. We didn't have any problems importing the data. And now if I bring up the tag browser, let's just take a look at station 1 here and look at the level on this, and let's plot this now just to see what we've got for data here, and go back maybe 60 days here. So now you see that all of this data has been brought in. We just imported all of this here. So let's add the other two just to see how our 3 tanks look. And we'll go, just put in a wildcard, and we're going to filter this by water level. Let's grab station 2. We'll select that. Station 3, we'll select that. Plot. So, and let's break these guys up.
So that covers everything that I wanted to show in this history import tutorial. If you guys found this video helpful, please give us a like and hit the subscribe button, and that'll help us to make more of these types of videos in the future.